to start a university of research. And his vision was far more than science and technology. He wanted everything. He wanted medical research, he wanted archaeology, Indian archaeology, all sorts of things. And he wanted a balanced man to emerge at the end of it. Because he felt that that was the prerequisite for the advance of a nation. The story is long, you will read it in my book. Is it available here, Charles?
Yes.
It's called For the Love of India. And I called it For the Love of India because the British Chief Justice of Bombay said that he loved India with a love that knew no bounds. This is the British Chief Justice talking about an Indian 100 years ago, 1904. Then it happened that Curzon was very difficult with him. Lord Curzon was an arrogant man. And even when he was in college, he was so arrogant that the boys there composed a ditty on him. My name is George Nathaniel Curzon. I am a most superior person. Arrogant to the extreme. And this man, when Jamsetji offered this gift, he could appreciate neither the greatness of the gift nor of the giver. Perhaps the greatness of the gift he was struck by for a while. But then he said, what does this fellow want? What does this fellow want? The Gujaratis are wonderful saying, Ema Marusu, what do I get out of it? And that's why when he died, the Times of India wrote, he sought no honor, he sought no honor, he claimed no privilege, but the advancement of India and a myriad peoples was with him an abiding passion. It is this purpose which advanced into a passion, a purpose pursued relentlessly, sincerely, selflessly, brings about that passion to achieve it. And then the possibility of a steel industry opened up. And he knew Curzon was not very helpful, so he went straight to the Secretary of State to India. I mean, think of the sort of just effortless courage of the man. I mean, you go straight to London, you forget the Viceroy here. He was the only man who could control the Viceroy anyway. So he went there and he told Lord Hamilton what he had done in 1882. He had taken coal, iron ore, tested it, but the mining concessions were not there. He said, then I wanted to start a steel plant for my own sake. But I don't need it now. I've got enough. God has blessed me with enough. Now if I have it, I'll want it for India. Not for my sake. He was very touched, Lord Hamilton, a very fine man, and he said, yes, we'll cooperate. He said, no, sir, that is not enough. You put it in writing to the Viceroy of India, Governor General, that the government will extend me every support to start this plant. He did, and to the credit of the British, they did extend support. And within 5 years, 1911, the plant, the first iron ore came up, and 1914 the war came. And the British had no steel plant east of the Suez, not in Australia, nowhere. And this plant furnished the material for the war effort of Britain, mostly in the Middle East. And the British had said, when he first heard that Tatars were setting up a steel plant, he was a railway commissioner, Sir Frederick Upcott, And he said, you mean to say Tatars are going to produce steel rails in India? Why, he said, I'll eat every ton of it they produce. At the end of the war, Tatars had produced 1,400 miles of steel rails. And Jamshedji's son, Jamshedji wasn't living, his son said, if Sir Frederick had kept his promise, he would have had some slight indigestion. So it's not only the British who have a sense of humor. The hydroelectric plant, his primary purpose was to stop the pollution of Bombay. It was not to give lights to people in the houses. He wanted the mills to transform themselves from steam and coal to power, electric power. These are the three great gifts, and of course, he set up this very, very grand hotel called the Taj Mahal. And the vision of the man, you know, we often go that side, and it's near our house too, I see the length of the Taj Mahal from one end to the other, and the architecture and the beauty of the place. You know, you think of the vision of the man. It opened with 17 guests, and there were about 10 times as many waiters and other staff there. But he had the vision that it'll bring the world to Bombay. And even today, although there's a new Taj and so many grand hotels in Bombay now near the airport, people still say they want to stay at the Taj Heritage Palace Hotel. And this is what the love of India creates in a man. And I found 2-3 things about him. He was a bit, he had a big farm in Panchgani, enormous place here he had. He wanted to grow coffee here. What is that place called, Adi? Outside? Bilar. Enormous land he had. Finally it was given for Bhutan. But he had ideas. He wanted to buy this whole plateau till the Anglo-Indians and the others here protested and gave the municipal corporation then 2,000 rupees, so for God's sake, don't let this Parsi encroach our plateau. You know, he was thinking so big the whole time that it was difficult to keep pace with this man. I was looking for what made this man tick. And I found it in a stray comment of a young Britisher who used to travel with him in a horse and carriage in Nagpur, where his mills were, the main mill was. And this young man said, whenever I travel with Mr. Tata, he talked of schemes and schemes and schemes. Never once did I find Mr. Tata impatient, intolerant, or critical of another's shortcomings. Mark those words, critical of another's shortcomings. The moment you're critical, the moment you keep like this, judging, you cease to be creative. You will keep the machine moving, but you won't be creative. And that was one secret of his life, apart from his love for India. This other one was his love for the poor. I came to this plantation and all. He used to import in those days by ship trees like peach trees from California. And in those days to import a plant when there was no airline, when nobody would look after it on a ship and you had to send a man all the way from California to India by ship, it's all very expensive. And although he could afford it, his son used to say, but father, why do you spend all this money on these business? And he replied, even if one of these plants could take root and give fruit